This is the Classic Auto Mall Show. Broadcast from the studios inside the Classic Auto Mall in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Just 1 hour west of Philadelphia at Pennsylvania Turnpike exit 298. Featuring nearly 1,000 classic, vintage, and barn-find vehicles for sale under one climate-controlled roof. Now, here's your host, Classic Auto Mall president and the man with all the toys, Stewart Howden.
And welcome, show number 222. So easy to remember because they're all the same number.
Remember that show?
Yeah.
Room 222?
222, that's right. I've forgotten that show.
Back in the 70s.
Back in the good old days, right? When we had 3 channels. And they went off at midnight and there was just fuzz on the thing. And you're like, oh, now what am I going to do?
That's right.
I got nothing else.
And you didn't have to dial the area code to phone numbers if you had one.
No. We were just talking earlier. I remember my first phone number.
Right.
584-2853.
But you don't know your current one.
I had no idea what my
it's all
current or anybody's numbers are anymore. All right, before we get to our guest.
Yes, sir.
How many cars in inventory, JR? You go first this week.
I'm going to go with my first phone number, which was 65, but I'll add a 9 to it. 965.
Steve?
Pretty good. 950.
957.
Oh.
Steve wins once again, so good for you. If those keeping score at home, it's Steve 12, JR 9, I think it is. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, let's get right to our guest. Joining us via Zoom, Matt Hagan. How are you this morning, Matt?
Good morning, guys. Glad to be on the show.
We're glad to have you on here. Top fuel funny car driver and farmer. I see you have a little ranch up there, a little small place, right? 3,000 acres.
We got a few mouths to feed. We got about 3,400 acres and 1,800 head of cattle, and
wow.
It's grown over the years. I started with 100 acres, and I guess I was too lazy to get out there and mow all of it, so I threw some cows out there, and then one thing led to another, and I said, well, if we're doing this, let's just do it.
Let's do it.
So it's been great, but it's really. For me, it allows me to turn everything off. Everything we do is 330 miles an hour. It's adrenaline driven, fans, lots of energy. And then you get back home and it's just like, okay, turn all that off, throw your phone in the truck and you get to putt around on a tractor at 6 miles an hour,
I get it. It's fun to get away and just kind of decompress from whatever it is you do. Because, life is stressful no matter what you do, but add in the fact that you're going, 340 miles an hour down 1,000 feet. That does change it a little bit. Are you a fast driver when you're driving just your regular car? Are you hauling ass everywhere you go? Or are you just kind of a...
Well, I'm definitely not Tony Stewart, put it that way. But we, it was one of them things where I do zip around here and there. I've had a few tickets, but it's been kind of cool. Like I remember my last ticket, I was I had all my race stuff on, and I was down in Texas, and it was like a 70 mile an hour or something like that, and I was running 102, and I was like, man, I'm going to jail. You know what I mean? Like anything over 100 miles an hour, and I was like, for sure. And so I was so nervous, the state trooper, he came over and I handed him my room key card instead of my license. And he's like, hey, I don't want your room key, buddy. He's like, I need your license, So he just, he warned me, and I was late to a sponsor dinner and stuff.
Sure.
And he's like, hey, man, I know it's flat out here and, whatnot, but he said, slow it down and keep it safe. And he let me go. So I was real grateful for that.
Yeah, I hear you. It's easy to get kind of caught up in the moment. You got a good song on the radio and or on the iPod or whatever it is anymore. And
well, with these cars nowadays, I mean, they throw me in a Hellcat Durango, and that's a grocery getter, but it's got, almost 1,000 horsepower for an SUV, and so it's crazy, I was trying to explain to somebody the other day, and you look up and you're running 75 miles an hour and it doesn't even feel like you're doing it. But like in my old pickup truck, that thing's working to run 75 miles an hour,
Absolutely. You get a 69 C28 on the highway with a 4-speed in it, and you're just begging for that next gear because that thing
let's go, right?
Just going.
Open road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, can you imagine 1,000 horsepower in an SUV? I mean, isn't that that's mind-boggling?
It's wild, man. And all-wheel drive, and we run them down the strip, and just to kind of give people rides. We do like a thrill ride stuff on Thursdays a lot of time, and people are blown away when we run them to the quarter mile, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this thing's doing 110 miles an hour in a quarter mile, and it's SUV all-wheel drive."
Yeah, that drives like you got air conditioning and music playing, and it's comfortable, and you think about anything that had over 400 or 500 horsepower back in the 60s or 70s was just temperamental, and you were constantly fiddling with it, never ran right, it was always kicking and sputtering and all that, and now they're just no problem at all. 1,000 horsepower, no big deal. I'm glad that I'm not 16 years old right now, though.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. A good thing most 16-year-olds can't afford it, but it's one of those things where if they could, they'll definitely get it because the cars nowadays are just unbelievable.
Yeah, I always joke around. We say this on the show all the time. My Trans Am, when I first got it, had 180 horsepower. Now,
wow.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. The cheapest car on the planet would have more horsepower now than that. A Nissan Versa.
My dad was telling me his first car was I think it was a Coronado. It had a 454 in it.
Wow,
he said the only reason I could afford it is because nobody could afford gas for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of one of them things where I said, what in the world were you doing with a 454 back there when you first got your first car? He says, that's all I could afford. But it was a four door. It wasn't
right.
Cornet. Yeah, it was a Cornet, I think. But yeah, it was just one of them things to hear these stories for these guys. And their cool cars. I tell you something that I don't know if you know the guy or not, but my sponsor, Jason Johnson, he owns Jason Johnson Horsepower Garage. He's got about 400 cars, man, and his collection is unbelievable. I need to link you guys up sometime. I mean, obviously, you got a lot of cars, and this guy's collection is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's just south of Nashville, isn't he? I was doing a little research.
Sir. Yeah, right there, 30 minutes from Nashville.
Yeah, he built your rig that you use at the track. That oh my God, that thing is too cool.
That was cool, man. So you're paying attention. You understand. You got it. Yeah, I ain't going to tell you nothing.
No. It's, I try to do my homework because, if I don't write it down, I'll never remember it. It's one of those things. But tell us about the hauler that you had that he had built for you. What was it? A 1965 Dodge 200 Power Wagon crew cab?
Yeah.
That thing was
awesome,
cool.
It was on a new cab chassis kind of deal, but they took the body off of that thing and stuck it on there, and it was just unbelievable, man. I mean, I think he had a little bit over $300,000 in it, and it just everybody. There was more people that stopped and took pictures of that truck than they did of my race car at the race. You know what I mean? So he's got so his thing now is going to be kind of like taking and debuting one of his new cars and stuff like, or it would be SUV or truck to be able to pull our race cars around at the races that he sponsors. So he's actually setting up a dealership to where he's going to start selling some of these cars along the way. I think that he, it's more or less that, I don't know if he even really wants to sell them, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't need to sell them, you know what I mean? But he just spent like $5 million down the road there from his place to set up this new dealership. And it's just been really, really great to get to learn this guy and really see what his, passion is. And his background is from Copart, so his dad, basically, they've been in the kind of, I wouldn't say salvage, but like just basically just assembling cars and selling parts and pieces. And they took that company public. And so we go to these Mecum auctions and stuff, and Jason can tell you everything about any car ever. And I'm blown away, man. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you do a lot like that as well.
Not like quite, because guys that did that took them apart and had to pull every alternator off, every fuel pump off, every air filter, all of that. Those guys really understood every single car much better than a lot of us. It's like anything. Somebody asks you about a race car driver or somebody that you knew, and you think you know a little bit, and then you start doing research on them, and you go, man, I didn't know any of this. It's like, wow.
Yeah, if I got a question, I ask Jason, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So 4 times you were champion in funny car, 2011, 2014, 20, and 23. Wow, man. And 4 times second place.
We run it up this year, man. We had a little bit of a tough deal, not being able to run our last race. It was a little bit of a long shot. I mean, but I think we were 100 points back, and so he needed to go out first round. We needed to win the race. But that happened to me, man, in 2010. So my second year driving a Fuel Funny car, I show up. I'm still learning to drive this thing.
Right.
And I got an opportunity to win a championship. I just got to go 2 rounds. And I win my first championship my second year in this thing. And I lose first round. And John Force has to win the race. And he goes out there and wins the race. And it was just devastating, right?
Yeah.
So, that question in my back of my mind is always going to be this year, like, what if? Because I lived through it. You know what I mean? Like, I watched it unfold in front of me that, we didn't win the championship because of the last race, and we stumbled and they performed. And so that we're sitting in the same situation this year in the rain out there in California.
Which was crazy.
It blew my mind. You know what I mean? And
when's the last time?
There's a lot of stuff involved, because there's the sand trap was really bad. And then, there's a lot of water sitting there. We have the banquet that they have, hundreds of thousands, maybe $500,000 involved with pachanga and stuff. But at the end of the day, man, we're racing, right? Like, this is what we do. You know what I mean? So I was like, let's go to Vegas, or let's go to, Pomona. I mean, we were in Pomona, but let's go to, Phoenix or something. Let's unroll these
Let's
things.
finish this thing.
I was like, man, well, maybe we should just call him out and be like the best 2 out of 3. You know what I mean?
I like your thinking. Well, what are you going to, and is second place just as painful, right? It's got to be like, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, how many drivers are in Top Fuel funny cars now? Like over 30?
There's like 25 of us that really kind of run around the country,
right.
And a handful of, there's a good 16, 18 of us that show up at every race,
right.
And there's some fill-ins here and there. But, it's a special little niche that we get to do out here in the world that you can say like, man, I've gone 330 miles an hour every weekend, that I get to race. And it's crazy. But at the end of the day, you always want to be the best at your craft, right?
Sure.
And you always are giving everything. People think it's so glamorous and you're just, out here, I guess, winning races and chasing women and drinking beer and all that kind of stuff. But it's just not, I'm gone 34 weeks out of the year, and it's a lot of travel, a lot of wear and tear. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm very, very blessed to do it. Don't get me wrong. But man, I'm 43 years old. I just turned that the other day and I was like, man, I used to could sleep on this concrete floor. And dude, I'm telling you, we ain't got a great bed. I'm finding a different hotel now.
Yeah, I want that good mattress. I don't want that. I want that dream, whatever they call it, or coma mattress. I think they call it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And to not be able to get a chance to win, there's always in the back of your mind going to be saying, what if, what if, and
yes, sir.
How frustrating is that? How many? There's not many other drivers who've won 4 championships in Top Fuel funny car, right?
Yeah, so my kind of goal in life right now is to try to win my 5th championship. We got real close this year. I had a brand new crew chief this year. I've won 55 races so far, 4 championships, runner up a handful of times. But with this new kid, I think I've won championships with 2 different crew chiefs, right. And I really think with this new kid, Mike Knutson, he's kind of came up under our old crew chief. He needed a shot, you know what I mean? And It was his time to be in the sun, and he. I really stuck my neck out for him, and he really performed. We won 3 races this year. No one ever thought we'd even win a race,
Right,
and so I just, we got a good group right now. But, for me, 5 championships kind of puts you in an elite group with just me and John Force,
Right,
what I mean?
Yeah, nobody else.
So right now it's Kenny Bernstein, Don the Snake Perdome, John Force, and me.
Yeah.
That's the 4 of us that have 4 championships. Yeah. So it's still a very elite group, right? But I think if I could win my 5th or win our 5th, we would it would be something I feel like, okay, man, maybe I can walk away from the sport,
right.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Sure.
And you never know how long that's going to take or if you'll ever get there. Championships, race wins are hard to get, much less a championship. So I think people have a hard time putting that in perspective. There's a lot of guys out here that have never even won their first race, you know? So I'm very, very blessed and humbled to be around such a great group of guys that have really been motivated and driven and really put a great race car underneath me. And I try hard not to mess it up when they do that, because that's the worst feeling in the world, man, is to come back and everybody's like, oh man, it's like, no, looking those 10 dudes in the eye and they feel disappointed in you. That's like punch me in the head right now because it ain't gonna hurt as bad,
That's when my mom used to say, you really disappointed me, Stewart. And I'm like, oh man, you should have just spanked me or something. I'll take that. But what people don't realize is that in your sport versus, let's say, like Formula One, the difference between first and second is 45 seconds sometimes. The difference between first and second in your sport is 1/1000th of a second. I mean,
you're splitting frog hairs up there, man. I mean, it's like, I've lost a couple races by, a couple, it was like 100,000ths of a second or something like that. It's just, it's crazy that the timing system and all that kind of stuff can do that. But obviously that's, it's make or break. A lot of times now these races are dependent upon reaction times.
Right.
And we only, like the manufacturers, there's only 2 or 3 and the rules are so tight. The era of John Force when he won 10 races in a row or 10 championships in a row and just dominated. That'll never happen again.
Right.
There'll never be another John Force because the rules are so strict. Back then you could innovate, and if you had enough money that didn't care, they just go faster and faster and faster. And whoever could spend the most, and you had enough cars blocking for you and team members and stuff, it's what it is. That's the rules, and here you go. So, but now they don't want us to go any faster. We're already running 340 miles an hour. And they're like, hey guys, like they're adding 50 pounds to us this year. They're trying to slow us down and they're adding rev limiters to us. So and you can't modify or do anything to these cars anymore. So those I guess opportunities to kind of just dominate forever is because everybody has the same parts and pieces, and like don't get me wrong, Austin, Proc, and and Jimmy, they've done a really good job the last 2 years. They won 9 races this year. You know, we won 3.
Yeah.
So they have dominated, but it's so tough to do that for a long period of time because of the rules, and everybody kind of figures out this and that, and everybody's rubbing on the same parts and pieces, you know?
Well, it's like Don Prudhomme said. We had him on the show a while back, and he said, I was against changing it from a quarter mile to 1,000 feet. He said, I think we should have slowed the cars down, because he said everybody was just so. A quarter mile was what we always said. You know, that was the benchmark. You know, how fast is it in the quarter? You know, that was, or 0 to 60 or in the quarter, and to go to 1,000 feet. He said it was, he said maybe it would have been better to have some kind of spacers or limiters or something like that on the cars.
Well, I'll tell you what, anybody that's never been on fire in one of these things, I'll take the extra 320 feet to stop. You know what I mean? But there's been some times where I'm going like, man, I realize, when you see somebody on the news and they're in a skyscraper and they jump out of a skyscraper to their death because the fire's so hot.
Exactly.
I've been there. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where your mind freaks out and you're taking in all this heat and the fire and you can't see where you're at. And then you start to panic and then you start to breathe more. And then you start taking in all this carbon and smoke. And then you panic even more because you're coughing and you're still running, 300 miles an hour. And it's just like this massive fireball and stuff. So it gets interesting real quick, but I think you got to go through some of that kind of stuff to realize how to get yourself out of some of those situations,
Sure.
And I've had some really bad fires early on in my career that kind of helped me get through the rest of my stuff. But man, nobody can tell you how to do that. So it's tough. Don't get me wrong. I definitely am a quarter mile guy. That's how I started as well. But man, when you get that extra 300 feet to stop somewhere, I'm all about that too.
I hear you. Well, it's like anything. I mean, we just up the street, you had a pretty interesting run this season at Maple Grove, and I know you weren't happy with one of the rules that they have, and that's the tethering, and that's part of what you just said, where you can't see anything, and you'd rather that be gone. I mean, that body, the chances of the body blowing into the stands like it did. Has it been one time maybe that it's actually happened? Or?
Yeah, it's been like once or twice, but it's like in the history of our sport, we've been blowing bodies off for decades, and there hasn't been a single fan hurt. I looked it up, and there was one incident where someone had a sprained wrist from, I guess, pushing the body off of them or something. But other than that, we haven't, and what's happening is these things, think about 12,000 horsepower, 80,000 foot-pounds of torque. And it's a bomb in your lap, right?
Jeez.
And so that energy has to go somewhere. And a lot of times these cars, they used to shed the body and that energy would go away. And then you could see and the parachutes come out and it straightens the car out, all that kind of stuff. So those things happen, but then we could control the situation a lot better. But now tying these bodies down with the tethers to hold them on, it's like taking a firecracker and putting your hand and then putting your hand around it.
Right.
It's going to knock your fingers off, right? But if you opened up your hand, it would burn you. I mean, it's still not great no matter what. But it's just physics, man. I mean, and we're trying to say, like, this is the best thing for us. Well, it might be to keep them, from flying up in the air. But, man, it makes it really, really dangerous for our drivers. And, we've already had a couple drivers get hurt from it and different things like that. I mean, you look at John Force, he would probably, as crazy as John Force is, he would probably still be in a race car right now.
I know. But he's 70. How old is he? 70?
He's got to be 76 or 77.
Yeah, you feel like a young punk. He was 30 when you were born.
Oh, I know. I got so much. The first time I ever saw John Force was on CNN. He was talking to Larry King live, and I was like, who is this guy? This guy's high on life. You know what I mean? So he's just living it up.
He is living it up. You got anybody?
Never dreamed of racing.
Yeah, and anybody who has that kind of enthusiasm, you can't help but even if you don't agree with them, you just like them because they're just so enthusiastic.
Yeah, he's good people.
Yeah, sure. and been a lot of good people in this sport. And your sport has been, I mean, if you look at the guys, Kenny Bernstein and those guys back in the day, and even further back in the day, I mean, my God, Frank Hawley and of course Prudhomme and John Force.
So many great
oh my God! And just down the street from us is Bruce Larson, who won. I think he won in '89. I think 1 year only. He won the championship, which is
that's wild,
kind of weird. So you got started though. Was Bristol your home track? I mean, when you were growing up, is that the track you went to?
Yeah, Bristol kind of is. I mean, they're both Bristol and Charlotte are 2 hours away from me, so it's really kind of flip a coin of which you want to call home. Whichever race that weekend is, I'm like, oh, this is my home track. But But, I really got started. You can see the 69 Dart behind me here. And it was one of my family friends. He worked for my dad. And he was kind of like my second dad. You know, he was one of those guys that sneak you beers and take you to the racetrack and let you air the tires up and all that kind of stuff. And you know, at the time, I mean, I wasn't drinking beer at 13, but when he started taking me to the thing, it was around 13. And so anyway, long story short, I just fell in love with this car behind me. You know what I mean? This thing's a gear jammer. It's got a 570 all aluminum motor in it. And it's just, you know, it stands on its back bumper. You know, when you pull second gear, you're looking at blue sky.
Right.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You know? So I didn't have a race car at 13, but I had a 4-wheeler. So he was like, well, throw your 4-wheeler on the race hauler. We'll chair it down there. And then they let me bracket race it. And I won some money the first time. And I was just like, okay. So Pops has a dealership, and I started stealing cars off of his used car lot and bring them back with no transmissions in them. And he kind of got wind of that, and then, you know, helped me get my first race car, which was like a Chevy 2 Nova with a 406 with a slapstick and foot brake in it. One thing led to another, fell in love with the sport, man, and just kind of worked my way up through it and really got in front of the right people at the right time. And, you know, I think the biggest thing in my career was I own my own team, and I went to Indy, which is the NHRA's biggest race. And I out-qualified Forrest, Selzy, and Tommy Johnson Jr. at Indy. And just on my own dime doing my own thing. And Don Schumacher walked through my pit, and he was like, who are you, and where'd you come from, and do you got any money that you can spend? And I was like, no, I ain't got no money, man, but I like winning these race cars. And so he said, well, Gary Selzy's retiring. He's going to go back and work his family business, and his kids are young, and he's kind of, you know, want to spend more time with them. And he's like, I need a wheel man. He's like, why don't you sell your hunk of junk and come drive mine? And I was like, sound like a pretty good plan to me, you know? So, and by then, you know, that my first year, we'd blown up so much. Like at my sponsorship, I thought I was going to have to go take a loan out to get through the end of the year. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know, when you're young like that, I was 19 years old. And you think, oh man, I got like $3 million sponsor, and I got these trailers and trucks and rigs. Well, then my crew chief kept setting me on fire and blowing my stuff up. And I was just like, this little pot of money that I thought I was going to have at the end of the season, it kept getting smaller and smaller, and then it just went to zero. And then I'm like, how do I get to the last race? You know, so
don't have enough gas money.
Yeah. So when Don came by, I was like, this is a great idea. Let me sell this stuff.
Well, it just happened with Josh Hart and Top Fuel Dragsters. He just sold his team and went to driving for John Force. So, you know, he said he was glad to get away from the bookkeeping and accounting and payroll stuff.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, man. It's so much. And, you know, sponsors, I mean, you got to make these guys happy, although I love your sponsor, the American Rebel Beer. I mean,
man, Andy's great.
Listen, their slogan, America's patriotic, God-fearing, Constitution-loving, national anthem singing, stand your ground beer. That's so cool.
He's a true-blooded American, man. I'm telling you. Like, he just was at my place, my farm, and was shooting a video. He had a TV hunting show for 10 years, and then kind of started writing some songs, and then the guy that actually took Smith & Wesson and bought it and turned it around, it was going bankrupt at the time, was Corey. And he saw Andy or knew Andy somehow through some of these song stuff and just fell in love with the brand, the American Rebel. And then they started out with a safe company and basically a concealed carry company. And they're like, well, man, these safes are kind of hard to sell because it's a one-time purchase and shipping and stuff. He's like, you know, we're already public, so let's do something with racing. And he's like, well, everybody needs beer. Everybody drinks beer, you know? So one thing led to another, but Andy Ross has been amazing. No different than Jason Johnson and obviously my Mopar sponsors and stuff like that. But he's just salt of the earth guy, man. You know what I mean? And he's just kind of a cool dude that you just kind of have fun with. And he, you know, we spent a lot of time together. And you know what's kind of wild is like, Andy signed on and we won a championship that year, and we won three or four races with his car. And then every time he shows up, we keep winning. And so I was like, man, well, we got to get you on this car all the time or something. You know what I mean? But it's really neat to have a situation where, you know, Mopar picks up 10 and then Andy's got 5 with American Rebel and Jason picks up 5 and we're just fully funded. And that's kind of unheard of out here a lot to just be have multi-years where you're just not worrying about sponsorship. And that just tells you how great our partners are and how excited they are. And, you know, Andy's trying to get more races and Jason is too, and Mopar won't come off of any. So it's just kind of, it's a great situation to be in.
Well, you've been with Mopar a long time, right? I mean,
I have. I'm coming up on 18 years with Dodge and Mopar now. And they just, you know, I get a lot of fans that come up and some of them will have a Mopar tattoo on their neck. I'm like, brother, I drive the car, and I don't think I'm that big of a fan. You know what I mean? Like, you are a diehard fan. You know? So
yeah, I loved what the Dodge CEO called you, the ultimate bad-asseter. Like ambassador, but bad-asseter. I thought that was great. That was so cool.
It's cool. No, they've been a really good sponsor for me for the last coming up on 18 years now, and been able to win several championships, and just I've seen a couple of them come and go up with any big companies. There's internal turnover, but we've made a lot of great relationships and been able to keep it alive for a long time. And they're just great. You know, Mark Whitney is the guy that's basically now that's kind of like he runs it up the chain to the top guy, but he's our guy and he's in the trenches with us, and he's a racer as well, so he gets it. So it's not like you're trying to have to pitch it and sell it. And he's super easy. He drives the most of the races, and he comes in, hangs out in the pit and in our stuff, and just he sees the value, right? Like we're a huge the days of win on Sunday, buy on Monday are kind of gone.
Doesn't happen.
We're a loud, fast billboard, right? And people pay attention when we hit the pedal. You know what I mean? So he understands the value behind it, and we're very blessed to have a bunch of great partners. You know.
Well, at Mecum Auctions, they had the drifting set up with the Dodge cars out there and the Challengers and the Hemis and all that stuff. And that is such a huge thing for them, But like you said, win on Sunday, sell on Monday doesn't really happen like it used to happen.
Right.
But the awareness you have to keep. I mean, there's a reason that Budweiser and Coca-Cola still advertise, because you have to keep your name out there. You have to.
It's keeping in the front of that brain, you know what I mean? Because it's, everybody's got options, and nowadays everybody wants the cheapest thing going, but where do you go get 1,000 horsepower car now? I mean, you can, there's a couple other places, but like, it's just like Dodge and Mopar has been known for that old school muscle, man.
Well, not many people are even making cars anymore. I mean, if you look at Ford, I don't even think Ford has a passenger car even in their lineup anymore. It's either trucks or SUVs or, some kind of weird hybrid, whatever.
Speaking of cars, I think the Ford, president, he came out and said that there's like 5,000, mechanic jobs right now that are paying over $100,000 a year.
I saw that.
Can't fill them.
Yeah, they cannot fill them. And you think, and as long as it will take people to go to school and learn it, by then where are they going to be?
We have a 2-year CAP program that we promote. We bring these kids in every race, and on Fridays they come into our hospitality tent. We sit them down. We put dealers in front of them, so they leave the school with a job opportunity before they even graduate. Right. And this CAP program is great. Dodge does it, and we get to talk to these young individuals and kind of tell them how to stay motivated and stay in school, and the what separates you from the person beside of you. If you lay your resume on the desk and it's like, you're all in the same school, but what have you done more to make sure that they pick your resume over the person beside of you? You get to just kind of like open their brain for a little bit and kind of talk about some of that stuff, but also show them that, hey, it's not just in a dealership. I have several guys that have been through some of these tech programs that work on my car, and they've won championships with me. So the sky's the limit, right?
Right. And we got to perpetuate the hobby. I mean, or the hobby. It's not a hobby anymore. My business is not a hobby anymore. But we do have to perpetuate. Like McPherson College in Kansas that teaches kids how to restore old cars and classic cars and pre-war cars and keeps them interested in all that. We've got to keep the youth interested.
Need more of it.
Otherwise, it's going to be a couple of electric cars you can't even hear running down the track. And the coolest thing about drag racing is the sound and the fury. I mean, if you don't have that,
man. It's sensory overload.
I hadn't been to a drag race until I moved up here 8 years ago in about 20 years. And I went to Maple Grove, and I was just like, my God, these things they're just pissed off, and they're running like the loudness.
It's a small earthquake. So we had some seismologists come out, and it's a 2.3 on the Richter scale when 2 fuel cars leave the starting line. So it truly is a mini earthquake.
And they run 4 at Charlotte, which that doesn't even compute.
That's crazy.
But I remember the first time I was going to Bristol back in the day in the early 80s, when literally the fence, and we've talked about this on the show, the fence was literally right on the track. I mean, there wasn't a big grassy buffer area. You could be standing there, and on Saturday night when they were qualifying, and those flames were shooting out of there, they were singeing your eyebrows. I mean, you were right there.
Rockingham this year, they just added it to our schedule, and if I do remember right, because that was first place I ever won my first IHRA win.
Sure.
The same thing. There's stands right there on the track, and then there's like a chain link fence, and it's just like you press your face up there and get waffle cone on your face. You know?
Exactly right. So the farming is going to carry you when you decide to retire. You got the farming to go on.
I bought a beef jerky company or beef stick company, you know, and it was kind of one of those things, the farming and that, and then we got, you know, a CBD company and some other stuff.
Right.
But I'm really pumped up about this beef stick company right now. I mean, this lady, Charlotte Haynes, she had she's the heiress to Haynes Underwear.
Yeah.
And she came in. I was trying to just get some beef sticks made, you know, because we sell meat across the country as well and stuff. And we're actually kind of like tearing that down to just be more local, just because of shipping and dry ice and the labor and overhead. But anyway, I went in there to get just some of these sticks made, and she's like, "You need to buy this place." And I was like, "I don't need to buy this place," you know. And she's like, "Make me an offer," you know. And so one thing led to another. I made her offer, and she was like, took it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, now we own a beef stick company," you know. So then you got to figure out how to pay for it, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, that's always the best way to do it. I figure that's if you get. So I got a question for you. Do you eat, if you raise an Angus beef, you eat steak for every meal? Is that just, you know?
I put 2 in the freezer every year. You know what I mean? And we munch on them pretty much all the time. And you know, I don't know if it's always just for breakfast, but we definitely got one of the 3 meals we're eating some type of beef.
Type of beef. You got to have protein in your life, right?
Yeah,
you know.
Man,
so
that's for sure. And the good quality stuff. You know, that's what people don't understand is that, you know, by the time you buy it out of the grocery store, by the time it hits your plate, it's changed hands almost 7 times.
Yeah,
you know, so
it's crazy.
And that's
expensive.
7 different opportunities for somebody to put something in it, or give it an antibiotic, or give it a hormone, or this or that. You know, when you buy straight from the farmers or your local farmer there, it's usually from farm to table. I mean, other than the processor that puts it in a bag and cuts it up, you know, but that's what I think people don't realize.
Right.
You know?
And the prices have gotten crazy. I mean, you go to Wegmans, which is a local grocery store chain around here, which is a great store chain. And it's amazing. You know, you pick up a steak and you look at it, it's $35. You think, my God, I remember in 1981, you go out to a fancy restaurant and a filet mignon was $6.95.
Yeah.
That's dating myself.
I wish it was nowadays. You know, it's a long way from that.
Important question, though. When the cows are lying down, does that mean it's going to rain, or does that not mean?
That's the whole story, man. You know what I mean? So I've seen them standing and laying, but usually if they're laying, there's some weather or a front coming in, you know, so. Kind of like that old saying, you know, if you see the trees turn the leaves upside down, the rain's going to come.
That's exactly right. So my last question that I always like to ask everybody on the show is, and I pretty much think I know this answer, what's your daily driver?
Oh, man, I just got a bunch of old pickup trucks. You know what I mean?
I love that.
You know, and obviously Dodge supplies me with a Hellcat Durango to kind of zip around in and try to put some miles on it. But they gave me a Hellcat Red Eye.
Really?
And that didn't really go that well on the farm. You know, we had a lot of cow crap all over it all the time. And I turned the thing in, they're like, there's cow stains in the floorboards. You know, it's just like, I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Let's get an SUV or something.
Yeah, you know? I mean, give a race car to a farmer, and that's what you're going to get, right? You know, there's going to be straw in there, and there's going to be mud, and that's the way it is. And if you don't like
Dodge hooks me up pretty good on, you know, some discounts on buying trucks and stuff. We got a lot of 5500s in our fleet and stuff like that. So, you know, but it's like anything else, man. You know, I do have some old trucks that I love to kind of tinker with. I got an 86 Dodge and a 63 Dodge V200, and then I got a V300 dump truck, you know, that's a 66.
Sure.
So I like to tinker with some of that old stuff a little bit and kind of redo it and kind of, you know, just wrench on stuff like that stuff you can wrench on, right?
Yeah,
like,
and it's therapy.
Nowadays,
right?
you got to plug them in. You know?
Yeah, it's therapy too. You're kind of work on a car and think about it and all that. Well, listen, Matt, we really appreciate you being on the show today, and I definitely want to hook up with your buddy from Johnson's Horsepower Garage. And when you're at Maple Grove this year, I'm gonna come see you because we're 7 miles as the crow flies.
Let me know. I'll take care of you guys on some tickets.
I appreciate that.
We'll hooked up, man. Well, we'll definitely. And shout out to Judy Stropus. Thank you so much for setting this up. She's awesome. So
awesome. Thanks again. Matt Hagan, everybody. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Whether you want to buy or sell a classic, collectible, or special interest vehicle, you need to visit the Classic Auto Mall website for more information. If you're looking to buy, you can easily search our inventory of more than 1,000 vehicles on the web at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Classic Auto Mall show from the Classic Auto Mall studio in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Matt Hagan, what a great guest.
Oh, wow.
Man, could talk to him all day.
Really? Awesome. I'm exhausted.
Man,
and you didn't get into your Southern thing too much. I thought you were were going to be back and forth.
Well,
kept it real.
Sometimes the obvious, Steve. That's why I'm sitting in the captain's chair.
I mean, he's going as fast as his cars.
Yeah, it's amazing. But the businesses that he has and everything that he's got, and then gone as many weeks as he said, 35 weeks out of the year, that is tough. I mean, you talk to anybody that's in a rock band or in anything that travels that much, it doesn't become fun. It's like, the reason the joke is, Goodnight Cleveland could be Poughkeepsie. It could be Salt Lake City. It's just every night is the same. It's just it's like Groundhog Day in a different city.
That's true.
You think about that going to a drag strip. I mean, they all look the same. They're just all one big long straight line.
Well, and he's got race cars and then American Rebel beer and Hagan Cattle Company jerky. So like you got your snacks, you got your beer, you got your TV, and you're watching your racing. Yeah,
I like it a lot. I like being that busy. So where did we sell cars the past 2 weeks?
Where?
You might add. How about Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, New Freedom, Pennsylvania, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, Sunset, South Carolina, Elverson, Pennsylvania, Port Republic, New Jersey, Downingtown, Pennsylvania, Semmes, Alabama, Springfield, Pennsylvania, Mullica Hill, New Jersey, Levittown, Pennsylvania, Delran, New Jersey, Rigby, Idaho, Lexington Park, Maryland, Jackson, New Jersey, Charlotte, North Carolina, Perkiomenville, Pennsylvania, Malvern, Pennsylvania, Hamburg, Pennsylvania, Lehighton, Pennsylvania, Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Quakertown, Pennsylvania, twice, Baldwinsville, New York, Greenbelt, Maryland, Dickinson, Texas, Maple Shade, New Jersey, Myerstown, Pennsylvania, Leesport, Pennsylvania, and Agde, France for the third time. We sold 3 cars to France. So
bien sûr.
I was kind of busy. We had a busy couple of weeks.
That's
there.
great. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was very nice. It was very quiet. Garrett and Kathy and I just chilled.
That's great.
Then we're going to go for Christmas. We're going to go see the grandkids in Missouri. So that'll be anarchy and chaos.
We got a dog.
Speaking of anarchy and chaos.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. We got rid of 5 kids. We're like, we don't need a dog because we don't want to say, well, I'm sorry, we can't take that trip to Monaco because we've got a dog. So
we never had kids, and this is our new kid.
Well, there you go.
I bought a vehicle over the holidays.
You did?
I did, yeah.
What'd you get?
A LaForza parts truck showed up in Boyertown, of all places.
Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, and a friend showed it to me. I didn't see it. Posted on Saturday. My friend showed me on Sunday. By Tuesday, I had a deposit on it. And it's just a parts truck, but it's the same spec as mine. And it's we dragged it over to the house.
Clean Pennsylvania title and all that good stuff.
Title.
So you got that. That's all good.
It's all good.
So what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to cannibalize parts, as they say. And then I'm going to sell the rest of it as a parts truck. Otherwise, I don't want to be shipping windshields and stuff because there's a lot of money in the parts. But
it's you just hit the nail on the head. And people ask me all the time, they go, I got this car. It's only worth like $5,000 as a whole, but it might be worth 10 or 12 grand in parts. And you say, absolutely, it might. You ever shipped a bumper to California?
That's right.
Not fun. Tires, wheels.
You got to build crates. Basically.
Yeah, you got to build some kind of crate, and it's not fun. I've told the story. Kathy and I sold 120 Schwinn bicycles on eBay, no reserve, and they all ended on Monday. And by Tuesday, everybody paid, and everybody's going, "Where's our bikes?" And we're like, we never thought about the shipping, and we only charged $20 per.
Oh no!
And we had to go steal bike boxes from dumpsters and behind bike shops. And
lesson learned.
Yeah, it's like I never want to ship anything that's not as is, where is.
That can fit in an envelope.
Either in an envelope or you got to come pick it up and put it in a truck. But I ain't. I am never going to ship that kind of stuff again. So yes, you can make more money doing that. Right. And if you've got, the time or
space
whatever,
and time,
space and whatever, then go for it, do it. But, to sell like an 85 Jaguar with 120,000 miles, it's probably going to be worth $4,000 or $5,000. Now you could part it out for probably, I said, 10 or 12 more, but it's a lot.
That's the same thing. I could probably, there's 3 times the money I paid for this thing in parts, but I don't have the time.
Yeah, who has the time? Because
retired guys.
I need you writing. Not
that's right. Yeah. I can't write today.
Not Forza-ing.
I'm building a crate for a door panel.
Exactly. Yeah. So, how about some of the new arrivals? How about the 1970 Jaguar XKE Coupe? A little pricier than the $5,000 referencing. This one's in Ascot Fawn over Biscuit.
Ascot Fawn is a great name.
Biscuit. What a name. That's a
good color combo.
Is that like a big old chalky biscuit you get from the South, or is that something different? It's a British biscuit.
It's a British biscuit. It's like a scone.
80,000 actual miles, 4.2 liter double overhead cam, 6-cylinder, inline 6. It's got that iconic, that E-Type is just unbelievable, that styling. And as we always say, what's his name?
Ferrari.
He said it was the most beautiful car ever made.
That's
Actually,
right.
he was talking about the Roadster, not the coupe.
Right.
But it's still got the same look to it. And when you're driving the coupe and you're looking out over the hood, it looks exactly the same as the Roadster.
It sure does.
It doesn't change anything. And it's got a 4-speed manual transmission.
That's nice.
So that is nice. Also, a new arrival, the 68 Plymouth Barracuda Formula S Fastback. Now, this is a tribute.
Yes.
Meaning that it's in honor of the Formula S. It started life as just a regular old Barracuda.
As we say, no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul, as long as you announce it and say it and make sure that everybody understands what it is and what it isn't. This is sable white over red with a 344 barrel. Got an A833 4-speed manual tranny and the Sure Grip axle and power front disc brakes. This thing is really nicely done.
One of the best tail ends of any car.
Yeah, it really does. It's got a great look to it. It's like a boat tail. It's like a modern day boat tail or modern day in the 60s.
And that fastback thing. It's just great.
It's just really cool looking. So, also new in is the 1973 Plymouth Roadrunner Coupe, silver frost metallic over black. This is a 2-owner in the B-body category. Numbers matching 360 cubic inch V8. Numbers matching torque flight automatic. The axle is the 8 3/4 323 axle. This car, you don't see them very often probably because they weren't very well built initially.
Right.
This one's been done and nice and it's in amazing condition. And the colors really stands out with that charcoal gray.
Very unique.
Yeah, they call it silver frost, but it's more charcoal to me. And it's the last year for that body style.
That's right.
And
That's right.
nice.
This is, they say, the end of the muscle car. And only less than 10,000 were built that year. And in the buy, sell, hold category, I would say this is a buy.
Absolutely, because they're not quite collectible like some of the earlier ones are.
B-bodies.
The B-bodies are. So we also got a great 1960 Chevrolet Impala convertible, Tasco turquoise over turquoise.
Yep.
Frame off restored, climate controlled for its entire life, 348, 3.2s. The 3.2 barrels, which make 6 barrels.
6 barrels.
So it's like a 6 barrel, and a Borg Warner 4-speed manual, which is kind of interesting. But this thing's long, low, and mean. It's just really a cool-looking car. And it's hard to say mean about a car that's turquoise.
Right. It is. It is.
But it is.
They had a face. They had an attitude.
They absolutely did. And next, for something completely different, the 1988 BMW R100 GS motorcycle, Alpenweiss over red.
Yes.
Fully restored bike. This was featured down at the Simeone when they had a selection of bikes down there, I think, one time.
That's right.
And it's been in Radnor Hunt.
There you go.
Which is a participant out there.
That's provenance.
Yeah, John Lawless, who puts together the class for the Radnor Hunt motorcycle category, it does an amazing job and gets these cool things. So this is nice provenance. 980cc boxer 2-cylinder, 5-speed manual with Brembo front disc brakes.
Learning all about motorcycles.
How cool is that? And last but not least, this is near and dear to my heart.
Sure is.
The 1968 Plymouth Fury 3 Sports Suburban Station Wagon, owned by yours truly, and my buddy Toby.
Yes, that's right.
I give Toby credit for this.
That's the red one, right?
That's right.
That's the red one. Matador red.
Red and wood.
And wood grain over red interior. It's got the big old 318 in it with a 2-barrel.
The reliable 318.
Yeah, the reliable 3 on the tree. It's got an AACA Historic Preservation Award as well, too.
That's good.
And it's a long cruiser, and it's got battle scars. It's been used. It was one family owned, and they used it and had fun with it and all that good stuff. So
does it have the reverse facing seat?
Does it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember. It might.
I can't remember if it does or it doesn't. Well, if you go on classicautomall.com and you look it up there, you will find if it has the rear facing seat, and then you can laugh about how silly I am that I don't know.
Just put Fury in the search field, and it'll come up.
Pop up. There it'll be.
And all the other Furies we have.
It'll be furiously furied. Anyway, when we return, we'll begin our conversation with our good friend, Mr. Keith Martin, publisher of Sports Car Market Magazine. We'll see you in just a couple minutes.
The Classic Auto Mall has more than 1,000 vehicles for consignment in our huge 8-acre climate-controlled showroom. It's a real indoor mall. If you'd like to know all the advantages of buying and selling a car through consignment, the information is available on our website, or you can talk to a classic car specialist who can answer all your questions. It's easy, safe, convenient, and it doesn't matter where you are. We sell worldwide. See our huge selection of classic and collectible vehicles at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Classic Auto Mall show from the Classic Auto Mall studio in Morgantown, PA. Joining us now via Zoom from the West Coast is our friend Keith Martin, publisher of Sports Car Market Magazine. Good morning, Keith. How are you?
Well, I'm just great. How are you?
Doing well. We took a week off for Thanksgiving last week. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving.
We went to a fancy restaurant.
Really?
We let them do all the work. I had the best old-fashioned I'd ever had. I had pecan pie for dessert that I didn't have to make.
Oh, that sounds good.
And all I had to do was give them a credit card and go home and be happy.
You know what? I tell you, the older you get, the more that sounds really, really desirable. Not have to go. We cooked all day, for three of us. We cooked all day the night before. We're doing this. We're scheduling that and where the turkey's going to be. Oh, it becomes so much work. And
it's good, though. It's your family. It's your friends. Each one has its advantage. For the past couple of years, I've just decided to take all the stress out of Thanksgiving.
Well, and in life in general, just get rid of your stress. Go out and enjoy your car. And what is the old saying? Buy the dress, drink the next second glass of wine, go drive your car, live and enjoy, and don't be so stressed out.
Stuart, I have to correct you. You said, enjoy yourself, have fun, drive your car.
Right.
Now, those three things don't always go in the same package.
Well, that's true too.
And that takes us up to the blog.
Yeah.
Let me.
Nice segue.
I'm going to skip the destruction derby I did with my 911 for a second, where I backed into the condo wall 4 times.
No, 4 times. Wow. Okay. All right.
Well, 2.5. 3. I'll make it short. What happens with these early 911s? They have a hand throttle.
Right.
Right. And so instead of an idle increase, that's the way. So I got in the car and I hadn't been in that car in a while, and the pedal configuration is just a little different for the gas and the brake. It's a Sportomatic, so there's no clutch. So I fired the car up and I had the hand throttle on just a little bit, and the car started rolling backwards. and I thought, what the? I mean, pardon my language. And this car has this big 5-mile-an-hour impact bumpers on it.
Right.
And so I rolled maybe 10 feet at 2 miles an hour and bumped into the wall behind me. I thought, what the heck is this all about?
Yeah.
Like, has my master cylinder gone out?
Well, it had to be that, because it could not be the lack of driving skills.
It couldn't be the fact that I was pressing on the floorboard instead of the brake pedal.
Yeah, that might have had something to do. It's like a bad, passenger backseat driver, right?
So I turn. I want to go back, across the condo because I have to back out, and I start the car and it creeps forward at 5 miles an hour and goes bump into the thing, and it just I had to stop and look down at my feet and say, okay, foot. Right foot brake.
Right.
There's the brake. Let's practice putting the brake. But the amazing thing, Stuart, was I was prepared to be unbelievably bummed with little dents and nicks.
Oh, yeah.
But those bumpers totally protected the car,
Sure.
and there was a mark on that car.
What they were designed to do, right? That was what they were built for, was to protect your car. The 5-mile-per-hour bumper test that they used to have back in the day. Oh my God! But
I prefer not to test it again.
Are there cameras in your building and in your garage? I'm just curious if we could see any of this.
I disabled those.
Yeah, smashed them with a baseball bat as you left the garage, right? So
so stupid to have the car creeping forward and not. I kept pressing and pressing and pressing, but I was not pressing the brake pedal. I was pressing the floorboard.
Oh my God! Isn't that's a horrible feeling when you think that you're doing something and it's not, the reaction is not happening like it's supposed to happen, and that's a terrible gut feeling because you feel completely out of control.
Yeah. But I survived.
Yeah. And so and there's some carpet got bunched up under there a little bit too. That may have had a little.
Yeah, the carpet. I need to get some cocoa mats down there and get it's the original carpet from '75 on the car.
I think you need some cocoa mats and some sheepskin seat covers, and you'll really be just Mr. 70s. Or 80s.
I think you can buy even cheaper covers than sheepskin.
What I don't want to know.
Because Walmart has some that they're just kind of a nice vinyl that goes over the car.
They're just a nice protector. It's like those bros that we used to put on the front of our cars that were so ugly. They were just black.
Ones that destroyed the paint.
Destroyed the paint and looked like crap, but they saved you from rock chips.
From something.
Something, I think. So, and then of course your last blog was "The Pin is Back in the Grenade."
Well, you and I talked a little bit about this, how sometimes bringing a car into service is like breaking a horse.
Yeah.
And with this car, it was because there were different things. The generator, or alternator, sometimes the light would go on, sometimes the light would go off.
Right.
Sometimes the heat would work, sometimes the heat wouldn't work. Sometimes the idle would work. So I knew that I had broken head studs and sooner or later the head gaskets would start to leak.
Right.
So I was really miserable driving the car because I was just waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Right.
What I've done is, over the course of $20,000 in 3 years, or maybe 25,000, or maybe I don't know, some number. It's gradually we've fixed each layer of thing,
and now it's a great car.
Now it's turning into, on Sunday last week, I was out with the Porsche group here. Mm-hmm. There were 10 997s, brand new cars, right, and my 50-year-old 911.
Really?
And we're all these twisty roads, and I had no trouble keeping up with them, but I was working my ass off.
Right, and they were just leisurely cruising.
They were, I don't know, they were listening to a podcast or
hopefully mine.
but I had to actually hit the apex of the turn. I had to brake early. I had to be. I really, again, it was great fun for me because I'm really busy. But they were just cruising.
Yeah. And there's times when you want to be busy driving and there's times when you want to cruise. You're in stop and go traffic, you'd prefer the cruising side of it. But on a twisty road that's, that you're there because of driving, you're not, there's no mission to get anywhere. You're not got to get to the store and home before dinner time. That's when you want to enjoy a car and enjoy a manual transmission and enjoy hitting the apex of the corner, right, and enjoy all of those things that we all preach and talk about, but don't get to do nearly as much as we'd like to.
I agree. The Porsche Club here puts on usually 2 events a week.
They're not retired or anything, are they?
What I like about the club is they're so busy. And what I've always maintained that with cars, there's value in use.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. And it's better for the car to be used than just to sit. There's no question about that. There's nothing worse than a car just sitting. So the pin is back in the grenade. It's secured, not loose, and won't be coming out soon, right?
Well, here's the question that begs. I prepped this. I fixed this 2.7 to sell it,
right? So
that I could buy a more modern 996 with a Tiptronic in it. But I'm having too much fun.
I say keep it. I say no harm, no foul. And you fixed it under one premise. You're keeping it under another. So be it. There shouldn't be many rules to what we're doing here. It should just.
Do you mean that I have to admit that I've changed my mind?
Yes, I think you have to do that publicly, right here with you and our other 10 or 12 subscribers.
Okay. I thought you said there were 8.
Well, it just jumped up because you came on, and so somehow that magically seems to raise the bar here.
And when I record this, that counts as another one.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'd like for you and all your friends to watch this as many times as you can humanly possible. Watch this over the next, 10, 12 days, and we'll be just fine. Actually, our numbers are really, really good, as you and I discussed.
I know, you were telling me that.
Yeah, it's...
How many did you get for Bruce Meyer?
176,000 for Bruce Meyer, 193 for Spike Ferriston, Jerry Seinfeld's buddy, who's got the Porsche collection, 126,000 on a couple of others. I mean, our subscribers are over 130, almost 140,000 subscribers, and growing about 1,000 a day, which I don't even. When you start talking those kind of things,
how does that relate to your core business?
I don't know. I mean, we're having fun. It's promoting Classic Auto Mall. Does it mean we're going to sell more cars, which ultimately is kind of why we're doing it, or why we started doing it? Let me back up with that. The reason we started doing it is because I thought it'd be fun to talk about cars and have people on and do what you and I get to do every week. And it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. And it's kind of a release valve for me. All of a sudden, we went from 4 years of doing it where we had maybe, 5,000 subscribers. And then in the last year, boom, we go from 5,000 to 137,000. And now it's becoming a thing. But are we seeing more car sales from it? Probably not. We might see a few more eyeballs on what we're doing, and maybe in the long run it will, but we're not seeing a direct connection to it yet. So either this thing's going to start paying for itself, or I'm going to have to, find something else to do.
No, there's certainly a brand awareness, because I hear people talk about Classic Auto Mall.
Right.
So there's something going on. What do they say that 60% of advertising works, but we're just not
sure what
percent it is?
That's exactly right. Somebody said, well, you should cut out some of this advertising. You're spending so much. I said, it's working. What should we cut out? Well, I don't know. Well, exactly. I mean, which one do you cut out? If it's working and you're doing well, But, to do this show every week and to get the kind of guests that we're able to get and to have you on is it's not nothing. It's A, a lot of work, and B, it's a lot of fun. And C, we hope that it helps promote our brand and what we do. And we get, nice recognition. I'm speaking next Tuesday at the Madison Avenue Sports Car Driving and Chowder Society, which, 5 years ago, if you'd asked me, that I would never get invited to that. No, I didn't, I wasn't in that circle of things, but, now we are. So there's certainly some validity to what you said about the recognition side of it. And I love nothing better than to walk onto an airplane with my logo on my hat or my shirt and somebody say, Classic Auto Mall, that'll make you feel good.
I understand.
That makes you feel real good.
Stuart, the challenge we all face is how we get our message across in an internet social media world.
Yeah. And when we're analog people, sometimes life is a bowl of soup and I'm a fork.
I understand. And getting, for my magazine, once the magazine gets into the hands of somebody, they become a subscriber and we have them for life.
Exactly. I think that's
getting a social media kid to a magazine.
Right.
We're figuring it out. We're trying some things and we're starting to get traction. But what a challenge that is. Yeah,
it's very difficult. Same with us here. Once we get people in the door, we kind of got them. We're the same way. Once they open page one or walk through these glass doors to come into Classic Auto Mall, it's hard for them to walk out and not love it, even if they weren't car people or not car people. An older woman who in her late 70s comes in and doesn't think much about cars. Cars aren't really her thing, and she comes in and just goes, "Oh my God, there's this and there's that and there's the car we did this and we grew up with, and neighbor and cool kid and all those different things." And so once we get them through the door, I think, we've got them. And I think that's the same with you, is that we have good sauce once you get inside.
Well, so I have one quick question as we wind up here. My place where I store my car is Protect by Mike Christopherson here in Portland. He's having a whiskey tasting tonight.
Oh, that's
and I don't think it's whiskey tasting and then test drive the car.
That's what I was going to say. You might want to, it's like the drive-through liquor store. It's,
Well, I'll never forget going to Tijuana one time. I was in a van full of 6 people, and then we went through a drive-in liquor store and we all ordered margaritas. They just handed us a tray through the car window.
Like when you used to go to Shoney's and they put that tray on your window, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
so do you have social events there?
We do. We have lots of events here, and we have clubs that meet in our meeting rooms. We have car shows that come here, and they're kind of half social, half car show. And we have clubs that will come and bring their 20 or 30 cars, and then they'll have their meeting in one of our rooms here. So we have social events. We don't have parties per se, but we do have a lot of events that are going on here on a pretty regular basis. So.
Well, we'll talk about those next week.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Thanks again for being on the show today, Keith. Everybody, Keith Martin, Sports Car Market Magazine. And we'll be back next week with a new show and hopefully some guests that to be determined. We'll see you next week.
Here's a special offer from Sports Car Market Magazine. Get a 6-month subscription for just $19.95 by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive and the number 6. That's sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. If you're a buyer, a seller, or just general classic car enthusiast, publisher Keith Martin says,
we've been around almost 40 years. It's the Wall Street Journal of the collector car world.
Activate your 6-month trial of Sports Car Market Magazine by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. Offers for a limited time. Be in the know with Sports Car Market.
The Classic Auto Mall Show with their host, Stewart Howden. Executive producer, Steve Seth here. Produced and engineered by yours truly, J.R. Russ. Video editor, Randy Lammy. Available on ClassicAutomall.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Music courtesy of the Pat Travers Band. For tour dates, contact, and stuff, visit PatTravers.com. Produced by Car Smarts Media. Copyright all rights reserved.